someone else.
Yeah, you know, if he's trying to dam up the river, he's gonna be there for a
Don't put it past him. He's probably heard that the level is coming down. So now it's changing.
Little engineers they are.
Good to go. Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. First things first is the approval of the agenda. A motion is that the agenda for the council meeting of October 6th be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Deputy Mayor Kirkby, Councillor McConnell. Any questions, concerns on the agenda? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried, thanks. I should mention that we have regrets from Councillor Van Burton tonight. Next on the agenda is declaration of interest. Is there any declarations tonight regarding anything? Seeing none. Tonight we have a presentation from Alphabet Creative. The updated Prescott visual identity logo. So the presentation is by Marley Kirkpatrick and Steve Bowker. There's Steve right there. Hey, Steve.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Marley won't be joining, actually. It will just be me, just so you know.
Well, we won't hold that against you. That's good.
Yeah, hopefully that's okay. Sorry, I missed the first half. Am I up right now?
You're up right now.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I don't know if you guys have my PDF, or would you just like me to share screen again?
We have it? Yeah, we have it. We're good.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so just to kind of resituate you of where we're kind of at in the process. So we took your feedback from the last time we spoke away, working with Dane and the team, and we tried to basically adapt the version that you saw of the logo with the lighthouse at the top to make it essentially more lighthousey. And to be honest, we just weren't able to get it in that same format to a point where we thought you'd be happy with it and everybody would be happy with it. So we actually took a little bit of a different approach, and I'll walk you through the deck, but I think this approach actually will end up being a better approach, and it's going to be more flexible for you and everybody that needs to use the logo in the long term. So I think through this process, we've actually made a better end product. So if you want to just go to the first slide, I'll kind of walk you through the main logo. So what you're looking at right now is what we're calling sort of the main logo. So instead of trying to make the top of the lighthouse join with the bottom of the logo or put, you know, lines in behind the logo, we've actually kind of reconfigured the whole mark itself. So we've gone for a full lighthouse icon. So there's kind of no mistaking that it's a lighthouse, but we've still kept the same typography from last time. I heard from a lot of you folks, Dana and her team and the people that she works with, that the typography wasn't the problem, it was mostly the lighthouse, right? So we feel that this look kind of achieves the full lighthouseness, with lack of a better term, but then keeps the sort of modernity of the type in place. So I think everything together still has that sort of handcrafted kind of look that we feel like fits Prescott, but it has sort of all the elements that we're hoping that you guys are happy with. We like the way it's worked out. But if you go to the next slide, this is where it actually starts to get interesting. So what this is called is a responsive logo system. So I don't know if you remember the initial kind of apprehension to having like a full illustration of a lighthouse in the logo was for digital applications, right? Like if you can imagine on your Instagram social media profile or on LinkedIn, right, where you have a very small space to get your brand across. We want to make sure that that's legible, right? So with a system like this, which is called, like I said, responsive logo system, it basically gives you a toolkit of pieces that you can use, right? So if it's on a sign, or, you know, I'm seeing your table in the front here, right, that has the full lockup of the logo, right? Where you have this space, you can use the full logo lockup with the lighthouse, with the 1784, Prescott, everything. That works really well, right? But when it shrinks down to say something that you just need to use an icon, like on Instagram or LinkedIn or anything that's really, really small, you can use the full lighthouse icon, which I think standing alone is still obvious that it's a lighthouse. And then there's another version of the logo that has the word mark and 1784. So essentially, we're giving you sort of maximum flexibility where When space allows, you can use the full lockup. When it's sort of medium size and maybe you can't have legibility of the full lockup, you can use the word mark with 1784. And when it's really, really, really small, you can use just an icon. And remember, we didn't mock it up in this presentation, but on social media platforms, right, you'll have the icon, but it will always say Prescott beside it in the platform's type itself. And then if you go to the next slide, where it gets even more interesting is Dana and us had been talking about the downtown BIA, right? And I think a few of you maybe had some questions. Well, we were suggesting sort of one logo, and there seems to be a need in some instances where we need to actually identify that it's the downtown BIA as a separate thing. So the nice thing about this logo system is it works really well if you need to kind of change the underneath word, if you just see on the top right where it says Prescott Downtown. So essentially, you basically can have a version that fits with this whole family. Everything sort of has that same look and feel, but it gives you sort of maximum flexibility where you're able to use, in most cases, the full version of the logo, but where needed, you can have the downtown versions, you can have the smaller version for digital applications. And I think it just gives you that full suite of tools that hopefully you have everything that you need, no matter what the application. And then that's is all we've included in this deck. The color palette and the thinking with everything else would be the same, but we just wanted to get this in front of you guys just to see your thoughts.
Very good, Steve. I'll open it up for questions. Questions or comments? Councilor Paul?
Why'd you point at me for?
You turned it on.
Can you flip up to the one screen there? There we go. Okay, the circle with a lighthouse in it. That I think people would find confusing, quite frankly, because the largest lighthouse that we've kind of appropriated for many different things over the years happens to be in Edwardsburg Cardinal Township, about 2 miles east of town. Somebody seeing that without Prescott anywhere near it would not know that it's Prescott. They might assume that it's Edwardsburg.
Sorry, the bottom right one is, and we should have mocked it up, my apologies. So that would be used for social media. It would always be accompanied by the word Prescott beside it. But the word Prescott beside it is actually in the platform itself. So if you look at like an Instagram profile, the only space you have is a very small circle, and then it's actually right beside it would say Prescott. So we're just showing you how you can use it in an icon format, but to address your question, it would never be shown just as the icon. It's always going to be accompanied with that text beside it. Not our text, it's the text in the platform, right? So it'd be Prescott, or if you're on Facebook, it's their text, or on LinkedIn, it's their text. So it all looks slightly different, the text they use, but it will always be paired with that icon.
Okay, the other thing that I don't really care for, and I mentioned this the last time as well, is Prescott 1784. Well, so what? Why not 1795, 1642? Who is going to know that 1784 really means anything, since 1784 is very definitive? 1784 really means nothing to the vast majority of people who are going to see that. And the whole idea of this investitures, shall we say, was to bring us into the present with a new logo that kind of gets away from the fort, which we had for a long time. 1784 is very historical, but to me, the word since 1784 should have been part of that, even if it's just very small. So those are the two comments I have. Thank you, Mayor Shankar.
Thank you, Councillor Khan. Anyone else? Councillor Campbell?
Mayor Shankar. I like it. I'm just curious to know why you tucked the first T in behind the O a little bit, but nothing on the other side.
It's just visual balance. So we played with those T's quite a bit, and I can assure you that it looks the best this way. So it's just sometimes these things, like if it's perfect on both sides, you would think that it would look more balanced, but it actually looks more balanced like this with the rest of the text. And I will say, if this version is selected, we will actually fine tune everything perfectly, but right now it's visually balanced.
Great, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Questions? All right, Steve, I think that's it for you today.
Awesome.
That looks
All
good.
right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
All right, here, thank you.
All right. Bye now.
I got a motion here to just amend the agenda today. So the motion is that council amend the agenda of October 6th to move item 12.1 to now, immediately after item 4.1, to allow the accompanying staff report to proceed the consultant presentation. Proceed. Yeah. So can I get a mover and seconder for that? Then we don't have to come back to, okay. Deputy Mayor Kirkby and Councillor Campbell. All right, all in favor? Great, thank you. So, Ms. Valentine, let's just get to 12.1. All right. The 12.1 is staff report 64-2025 Prescott branding and marketing strategy, the revised visual identity. The motion is that council approve the revised visual identity concept for the town of Prescott as presented by Alphabet Creative, and that council directs staff through Alphabet Creative to proceed with the development of the final branding and marketing strategy for the town of Prescott. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Young, Tracy Young, Councillor Ray Young, for seconding. Dana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, through you to council. So this is just to provide a bit of a wrap up to Alphabet's presentation. Just for some background, as I'm sure council will recall, on September 2nd, the new branding and marketing strategy and messaging framework was endorsed by council, while staff were directed to continue working with Alphabet to prepare a revised visual identity that incorporated a less abstract version of a lighthouse. So following this direction and through continued collaboration with staff, Alphabet has produced the redesigned visual identity that was presented to you tonight. I think all in all, we feel that these adjustments really reflect both the best practices that exist when it comes to logo design, as well as the stakeholder that was received throughout this process. It really ensures that Prescott's visual identity maintains consistency and really aligns well with the previously adopted brand pillars, which are support, service, success, shore, sport, spirit, and scene. Some of the key strengths I really just wanted to highlight today, as Steve noted, this new responsive logo system provides a cohesive suite of applications, including a primary logo and word mark, simplified word mark variations, and a flexible icon for digital and small scale use. We're pretty excited about the flexibility there and the different applications from digital to clothing to print materials. It really provides us with a wide range of options. And the new design establishes a contemporary aesthetic that reflects Prescott Riverside identity and forward-looking brand positioning. The system was created with practical use in mind, ensuring consistency across print, digital, signage, merch, and departmental partners and brands. The redesigned typography and iconography ensure high legibility, adaptability, and alignment with the accessibility standards, which is another key consideration as part of this when we are presenting that logo for public adoption. So we think the redesign provides a modern, flexible, and operationally practical brand system that really fully aligns with the adopted branding and marketing strategy. And it really, in our opinion, captures the town's heritage as well as the waterfront identity, which I think really came out as critical priorities throughout that stakeholder process, wanting to move forward while still maintaining some aspect of our heritage. And we're excited to move forward with the refined visual identity. I certainly hope that council agrees. It will allow us to move forward with the remainder of the project, which will include the actual development of the branding and marketing strategy. So that will include brand guidelines as well as the marketing strategy, which we're really excited to see what they're recommending for future directions when it comes to Prescott's marketing and advertising focuses. And as far as financial implications, there are no direct financial implications. This project was already approved under previous budget. And as far as alternatives, council could choose not to accept the revised concept or modify it further. And there are no additional attachments aside from the one that was presented by Alphabet. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine. Good job. Any questions for Ms. Valentine? All right. Yeah.
Through you, Rashika. I just kind of want to feel the room to understand. I understand 1784, like that's when we were established, but does everybody know that, like when people have American Eagle shirts, they have the year on them, and you understand?
I
So,
mean, in our previous logo, it said established 1784, but I'm gonna try to just simplify it and make it more modern. It's just a simple. They're the experts and not the,
so just to you, Councilor McConnell, just if an EST would help with your understanding of the date or not.
I think we all understand the date.
Okay.
And if I just can, jumping in, sorry. We did discuss that with Alphabet Creative, and the consensus was that once you get into reproduction on certain materials, that very quickly starts to disappear. And then it becomes this unknown element of the logo that people are trying to decipher, and it really takes away from, I think, the overall impact it will have.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor McConnell?
Through you, Mayor Schenker, did I just understand you to say that putting established, can you just go over that again, what you said? Perhaps I just didn't understand that.
So for example, if you produce this logo on a sweatshirt,
Yes,
it would be
as it
very
stands
hard to
now,
replicate the EST. You know, if you added the EST, we talked about that, whether to include established or not, or just have the 1784.
right?
And I can tell you, based on our current logo, we've actually had to eliminate that from many, many versions. It can't go on our pens. It can't go on other certain pieces because once you condense it, it becomes so pixelated, you can't make it out. So at that point, we end up pulling those elements out of the logo and ending up with a logo that doesn't fully represent what the adopted logo was. This will ensure that that logo can be imprinted on everything in every shape and form, and that the logo doesn't get modified to suit certain materials.
I guess if you bother to read what it says in a pen, that would be important, but I'm sitting here looking at the established on the mayor's shirt, and it pretty much tells the tale. I'm not convinced, to be honest with you. I like the whole thing, but I'm not gonna vote for it without the established on it. That's just my opinion. Thank you. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it.
No.
But I believe established makes it clear.
All right, thank you, Councilor McConnell. Anyone else? All right, seeing no further questions, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. All right, we're going to go back to number 5, which was delegations, which there are none. 6 is minutes of the previous council meeting. So the council minutes dated September 15th, 2025 be accepted as presented. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? Councilor Ray Young and Councilor Mary Campbell, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Next thing up is communications and petitions. We have a correspondence from the Solicitor General. Matthew, do you want to just walk us through that or give us an overview of that?
Certainly. So it's arrived last week or so, but they have taken a look at the OPP application for municipalities. They've instituted a limit of 11% as the maximum increase. And then they've also taken account for those that have a very high number of calls for service compared to the number of residents that they have. So we're not exactly sure what that's going to look like and what that means, but we commit to reviewing the allocation model, and that's what they come back with.
Okay. So we don't have any numbers yet, though,
No, and we're not expected until mid to late.
November. Okay. Councilor Young?
So we went through this not that long ago, 5 years, 7 years,
Took a little bit long, I think it was closer to almost 10.
10. So it was a complete turnaround for many municipalities, ours included. And ours went down considerably, whereas other rural ones went up considerably. Are they anticipating reversing it again?
So last fall, when they sent out the original billings, many municipalities were going up anywhere from 10 to 30 or 40%.
Right.
I think Prescott was in June, which would have equated to over $200,000. They went back, revised it, everyone's went up considerably lower than that, and there's a couple that decreased, but this is in response to that. But they put in some extraordinary measures to bring it back down last year. But given their review, I'm not expecting extraordinary measures this year.
Are they doing this internally? Or are they doing this with input from municipalities?
According to the letter, it was with input from municipalities.
All right. Any further discussion? So we'll find out mid-November, late November,
Potentially.
and then we'll report back. All right, thank you, Marshall. Next up is consent reports, and 8.1 is the council information package. The motion is that all items listed under the consent report section of the agenda be accepted as presented, unless we want to pull something out. So, so we won't do that motion. We'll ask them what they'll want to pull out. All right, so we'll start with Councillor Tracy Young.
I'd like to pull out number 19, the city of Dryden, swim to survive.
Okay. Councillor McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Unfortunately, did not bring my book with me that I wrote this down on, but it is in regards to the health unit. If you recall, I think it was the last meeting I asked Mr. Armstrong a question in regards to the health unit, and the report that was in here, I felt was rather alarming because if you read what's going on with the health units, which I wasn't aware of when we voted to amalgamated health units, was that our health unit have a deficit of about, what was it, 1.2 million, but we are joining with a health unit that had a deficit of about 7 million. And the way this thing reads that I read today, they are going to kind of even things out. So as Ray just mentioned with the OPP, some went down, some went up. I have an awful feeling that we are this new health unit are going to be going up. So I think we should be looking for considerably more information there before we find that happens. So I would like to pull that out and have a better look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Kirkby.
Yep, through you, Mayor Shankar, I'd like to pull out 14, United Counties leads Grenville. Support for creation of St. Lawrence Region Energy Task Force.
Okay.
Number 15,
Mhm.
that was Petrola Bail Reform. And 22, City of Kitchener on postage.
All right. You got that, Ms. Presley?
Yes.
So the amended motion will be all items under the consent reports minus the ones we just took out, be accepted as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor McConnell, Deputy Mayor Kirkby, Call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. All right, no committee reports tonight. The mayor's roundtable is next, so just a few items since our last meeting. There was a nice event at the Legion where they honored a few 50-year members. That was very well done, and there was a grand opening of their new sidewalk. They have a veterans sidewalk there. It looks really, really nice. So you almost feel bad walking on it. You know, I think I walked around it, but it was very, very nice. We had Truth and Reconciliation Day this week. Sorry, not this week, last week on Tuesday, which was great. It was nice to have, we had a few members of the public there, but it went well, and we raised the Every Child Matters flag. On Saturday, I went to the fire department. They had their open house and talked to a few of the guys, and they just had some training on how to deal with electric vehicles and the fires that occur with them. So they actually thanked council for, they showed me this blanket that they put over top of a car. So the problem is, if these cars catch on fire, you're supposed to just let them burn. But if it's in your driveway next to your home or next to your neighbor's home, what do? So they have this big, almost like a big tarp, really thick, really heavy. They pull it over just to try and they keep trying to cool it down with water. So they was explaining it all very well. They just all got trained on it. So it was really good to see them in action. They showed me how they would do it, and they had, you know, with these apps nowadays, they know exactly where to cut and where the batteries are and where to lift. So it was good training, and they said they had really good crowds on Saturday. So good for them. And Fire Prevention Week, I think we have a resolution coming up for that. So I'll pass it on. We'll go this way, Deputy Mayor Kirkby.
Thank you. Just from an operations report, the annual water flushing has started. The water line has been repaired down for the fountain, along with some electrical work. Splash pad is closed and winterized along with the beach. But the washrooms down at the park remain open for the splash pad. Fencing's up around the pickleball and tennis courts. Skateboard equipment donated by Brockville was brought to Prescott a couple weeks ago, but it was sanded and painted. Just a special note there, Jake from operations, who went above and beyond on this project. The East Street construction continues to be on track with paving starting late this week or next week.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Mayor Shankar. So fireman meeting is tomorrow night. It's just always a bit off kilter, but I'll bring that information back to the next council meeting. In our package, there are various letters concerning fire training, but I've talked to our chief, and he said that even though we are a volunteer group, that they have it well in hand, and how they're financing it and how many hours the guys are putting in. So I didn't bring any of those back because we've discussed that, and they're quite well and ready to go for training. I attended the plaque unveiling of the Lost Village of Prescott Junction on September 20th, which was just blew my mind. I never knew. My husband said, Petticoat Junction? I said, no, Prescott Junction. But that whole history I never knew. And Deputy Mayor Kirkby did a grand speech. Very good. Really, kudos. It was really good. A lot of people attended, different levels of dignitaries, and you should all walk down to the end of the path and read the plaque. It's designed by Chuck Street, one of our local artists. So yeah, it just blew me away. I just never knew. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tracy.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Porch Fest, a great success. I was lucky enough to be able to host on my porch, and a lot of people showed up. It was really good. Went down to the amphitheater afterwards, and the live music, the quality of it's just, we're so lucky to have it in our backyard, really. So that was really good. And thank you to SG Events and town staff. Went really well. Coming up, Small Business Week is coming up, October 21st at the Grand Room. Mayor Shankar, there'll be a fireside chat with a guest speaker to be announced. At our BIA meeting, our Special Events Committee, also, we're going to be doing a Small Business Week activity. We're going to have Downtown Connections, and it's going to be at the Prescott Fire Hall on October 22nd. And we're going to talk about the BIAs and what we do and how important they are. The Invest Prescott newsletter is out. Lots of great things to read about. Really well done. The other thing we talked about at the BIA is the Halloween events and how we'd like to have it all coincide on November the 1st. So we're looking forward to that. Both the Prescott BIA board and the Heritage Committee have a call out for nominations. And that's everything for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I attended I'm gonna have trouble not saying Petticoat Junction. The Prescott Junction, plaque, and one of the stories that I didn't hear was the fact that up behind the golf course where this junction was, that was where the cars were gathered, and then they were given a push and gravity would take them down the hill over the overpass, which is gone, and into the yard, which is now in front of the marina, just to the east of the marina. I've heard stories that the youth of the day would hop aboard those trains and ride them down. Probably Justin's father and uncle.
Grandparents.
Anyway, that was one of the great stories that I heard about Prescott Junction long before this ceremony. I did attend the Saturday open house at the fire hall. Something like 200 people attended. They were given the opportunity to use a fire extinguisher. They have a fire set up and they get to practice it. They get to practice holding a hose and let the water fly out of the hose, which that's exciting for young people. I stayed away from it just in case the hose got directed at me. And the trucks, of course, are always the biggest draw of anything. They want to climb into the truck and sit there and envision it going down the road. The other meeting that I attended, my first meeting was St. Lawrence Lodge. The lodge is moving along quite well. There are no problems. Things are quite good for the lodge right now, and we had our statement for the first 8 months of the year, which is the end of August. They're on the calendar year as we are, and I'm happy to report that the revenue is ahead of budget and the expenses are below budget. So they tell us that there is no reason to think that that won't continue for the balance of the year, which is really nice. I hope I'm not jinxing us and some major problem comes up, but so far so good at the lodge for 2025.
Good news. Good news. Thank you, Ray. Councillor McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Along with you and other members of council, I attended the flag raising here, and it was nice to see some members of the public attend as well. I attended 2 burials last week at the cemetery. The cemetery is going to have some work done this fall. We are having a tree removed that is in danger of falling down towards the back of the cemetery. And I met with the company that does their maintenance out there, and we will be meeting again this week in regards to repair of what I'm hoping will be around 20 to 25 monuments out of there, which have become damaged over the years. Most of them unfortunately are well over 100 years. So there's no chance of any of their relatives pitching in cost-wise. I attended a bit of the Porch Fest, and that was just an excellent event, especially because it was all over town. It cost us virtually nothing, and it provided entertainment to a variety of different neighborhoods and good entertainment, as was mentioned. So that's something that I can see as building on, or somebody building on, for another year. It's unfortunate it didn't go off the first time because of weather, but weather was good this day, and it turned out very well. I attended the Heritage Committee meeting last week, and they are in a bit of a quandary, I guess you could say, because the provincial government is indicating that they want some new thought gone into things, and actually we'll be coming up with something of that sort later on. So training is going to be provided. Members are going to be asked to attend this training. Members of council, if they're interested, could go as well. We are thinking of hosting it here and inviting neighboring municipalities to participate. I did attend one of these with former councillor Lossinger in Elizabethtown Township a few years ago, and it was quite informative. So I would certainly recommend anybody that is interested in that, that would like to attend, to please do so. Since Councillor Burton is not here, I will point out that the Shakespeare is having a fundraising gala at the golf club in 2 weeks, I believe it is. The theme is 1920s, so people are encouraged to come in their 1920s attire. There will be a silent auction and loud auction, for lack of a better word. There's another word for that, right? Live, thank you very much. They are selling tickets for that. You can buy them online, and you can get them down at the museum if you catch them when they're there. And it promises to be a great evening. If you recall, we had that gala here last year in our large room, and it was so packed that they are looking at a larger attendance this year. So that's why they've engaged the golf club. So that's a great event coming up and a good fundraising for them. I also attended something that I'd like to draw Dana's attention to. And this was a car show at the Hall's Apple Orchard a week ago Sunday. And there was over 200 cars there. There was all kinds of people there. The Apple Orchard building itself was busier than the devil. They probably did really good business. And the only reason I mention this is because when I was looking on the windshields to see exactly what years these vehicles were, I was surprised to see Prescott third annual car show. And I thought, we're a hell of a long way from Prescott. What's going on? So somebody eventually told me that the organizers were the same people out at the parts store by a Giant Tiger that organize a weekly cruise in. And my thought is that if you got that many cars and that many people, that's probably something we should be doing here. It used to be done here at the Fort Field, And one of the people that I spoke to who had a car there said he always enjoyed coming down to Prescott for our car show. So that's something I'd like to see started up again. I think I've mentioned before, when we're in Prince Edward Island, Summerside has one every Friday night. They close the main street, they have music, it's funded by a big 50-50 draw. It draws a whack of people in. And it would be good for our downtown businesses if they could be persuaded to stay open on that Friday night. And it would be good for the pop-ups as well. So I'll pass that along to Dana to do with this as she will. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Connell. On that note, I did get a few phone calls this week about the couple that do run that car show. Their name is Bob and Nancy Campbell. Is that correct? Yep, good. And so they're meeting today or tonight at the Napa that you mentioned. So we did up a scroll and hopefully they picked it up today because today was their last meeting of the year. So that's great. That's good. It's good news. And now that we've opened up that line of communication, maybe that's something we can work for.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not suggesting that we steal the one from Holland Apple Arches because they do a good job with it. They have wagon rides around the orchard and a whole bit, but at another date in Prescott, I think it would be welcomed.
Yeah. Councilor Young?
Mayor Shanker, the other event that I attended was the Community Futures Prescott annual meeting, their 35th annual meeting. It's hard to believe that
They've been around.
it's been around that long. I wish I had brought my notes, but I didn't. And so I'm going to throw out a couple of numbers and hopefully they're close to accurate. I think they have loaned $44 million
Wow.
out to South Grenville, North and South Grenville, over that 35-year period. It's affected more than 1,000 jobs for sure. It has triggered investment other than their money. They act as a partner with perhaps a bank or other individuals that loan money to. Anyway, it's a remarkable organization and we owe them a great deal of debt. And they have helped us as well, the town, with some of our programs. And I think we should go to them again for a couple of ideas with our neighbors and get some help from them. But congratulations to them. Of course, for the most of that period, it was Heather Lawless. That was the director. Now it's Katie Nolan. And they are doing a wonderful job in the area.
Great, thank you. Okay, we've got a few more staff reports tonight. None of them including Mr. Armstrong, which I'm just going to point that out there for our audience at home, in case they're waiting for you. Well, they're probably playing a game. All right, staff report 65-2025, rescinding notices of intention to designate. The motion is that council direct that the notice of intention to designate issued on June 20th, 2025 for the following properties as being of cultural heritage value or interest pursuant to section 29 of the Ontario Heritage Act are so be rescinded. 388 Center Street, 408 East Street. And that council direct the Heritage Advisory Committee to update the draft bylaws with new formats provided by Heritage Professional Consultants. Can I get a mover and seconder? Councillor Ray Young and Councillor Tracy Young. And Ms. Preston, the floor is yours. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Through you to council, I'll take your memory back to our second meeting in June, wherein we heard the recommendation to proceed with the notices of intention to designate a number of properties. Staff carried through on that direction, and on June 20th issued notices of intention, which were circulated to property owners, published in the paper, and sent to the Ontario Heritage Trust. Following that, and before the 30-day deadline, we did receive 2 appeals from 2 of the landowners, following which staff sought out legal advice on the best process forward, and were directed to seek out further advice from heritage professional consultants. Unbeknownst to us at the time, and as council may or may not be aware, there was a toolkit update in the span of the last year that has updated some of the processes and procedures as well as the standards for heritage evaluations. And therefore the recommendation has been made that council rescind the existing notices of intention to designate and ask the Heritage Committee to update the formats to reflect the new standards so that they can be brought back to council for reissuance prior to the deadline of our requirement to deal with the heritage properties on our list. So the decision is before you to direct it back to the Heritage Committee to make those updates to further come back to council at a future date. Just to be clear, this does not remove the properties from the list or remove them from our intention in the future, but only the current notices that were distributed.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions on that? Councillor Kirkby?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. Chloe, so when it goes back to the Heritage Committee, it'll come back to us. What's the timeline on that look like, roughly?
We've been speaking, through you, Mayor Shankar, we've been speaking with a heritage consultant who's looking to conduct some training and provide templates and an assessment and real world knowledge of the new toolkit to our committee and a variety of other committees as Councillor McConnell spoke to, in the mid to late November. So we expect to have new versions by the end of the year to council, if not the beginning of January. So well before the time deadline.
And the deadline is?
The end of 2026.
Right, okay. And last but not least, the 2 properties here, they both objected to the designation. Is that what I understand?
They both submitted written appeals.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. I read the motion. We have a mover and seconder, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. All right, the next one is staff report 66-2025, a request to remove heritage designation on 356 East Street. The motion is that council direct that the Prescott Heritage Advisory Committee to evaluate the request from the property owner of 356 East Street to repeal the municipal heritage designation bylaw, and the council direct the Prescott Heritage Advisory Committee to provide a recommendation back to council for consideration. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Campbell, Deputy Mayor Kirkby. All right, Ms. Preston, this one's yours.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Through you to council. Before you is my report with regards to a request that we received under the Ontario Heritage Act to remove a designation bylaw from a currently designated property within the town of Prescott. Just so that council is aware, this property is both designated municipally and provincially. So there are 2 sets of heritage protections or designations on this property. And so we only have jurisdiction over the municipal bylaw that is in force and effect currently. The Ontario Heritage Act speaks that homeowners can make a written request through the clerk to remove the designation. In Prescott, we delegate the assessment of heritage evaluations to the Heritage Committee. So tonight is to only speak to the direction to have the Heritage Committee assess this evaluation and make a recommendation back to council, for which we hope to be in November. There is a 90-day time frame from when the request is made, which was done on September 12th. And so we are still well within our timeframes to have the Heritage Committee make an evaluation and recommendation to council as to whether or not we seek to remove the designation.
Okay, thank you. Any follow-up questions here? Councilor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shanker. Not really a question, but if you've read through this, the owner of this property, and this is one of the oldest properties in Prescott. It was originally the hospital for the fort when there really wasn't anything else in the east end of town. And as Colby mentioned, it is also designated provincially as well as municipally. But from what I can glean from reading this, what has brought this forward is the construction on East Street and the proximity of that house to the street. And the fact that this is an old stone building with a stone foundation that from what I can glean here, the owner is thinking that possibly something is going to happen because of the construction that is going to damage the foundation that he's going to have to fix, and he's going to have to fix it heritage wise. And I think given the care that is taken and the insurance that is provided with construction on that street and the contractor, I don't believe that that is a concern that is valid. So I would not be in favor of granting this. Thank you.
I think the motion was just to send it back to the Heritage Committee to decide and then send us a report. Isn't that correct? Okay. Any other questions? Councilor Young?
This is considerably different from the other properties that we just dealt with. This has been designated since 1977, I think it was. Sandra Long and Norm Barber signed the bylaw.
It says 1962.
That's the bylaw.
No,
Oh, that's the bylaw? Oh,
that's the
sorry.
bylaw number.
Okay.
So it was, anyway, it's
Oh,
been
okay.
designated a long time. There are different owners now than there were. But they bought it as a designated building. It's not being forced on them now. It's not a surprise to them. I have no problem sending it back to the Heritage Advisory Committee for their opinion. But I'm not interested in removing the designation.
Mhm. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. I have a motion on the table. We have a mover and seconder, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next staff report is 67-2025, the stop up and close policy. Motion is that bylaw 40-2025, being a bylaw to adopt policies and procedures for the closure and sale of municipal highways, be read and passed, signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? Councilor McConnell and Councilor Campbell. Ms. Preston, this one's yours as well.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, through you. I know our municipal planner is with us virtually to answer any questions, but he's currently straddling two council meetings this evening, as our neighbors in Edwardsburg Cardinal also have council this evening. So he's available for any questions, but he may pop in and out. And through you to the members of council, before you is a policy and procedures to outline how we close municipal roads. And I don't mean the closure in the sense of we're closing it for 6 hours on a Saturday to facilitate an event. This is the permanent stopping up and closing of municipal roads, roadways, or rights of way that we have those accesses to. And it's the formal way that it's required by the land registry to relinquish the rights that are imposed under the Municipal Act for highways that are owned by municipalities. municipalities. This is a common procedure amongst municipalities across the province, and the municipal planner took applications that exist in other jurisdictions to prepare the procedures for you today, which would include the application process, a fee if required, the submission requirements that may or may not be required for a specific application, the notices that would be required to go out to the public, as well as the timelines and signage and advertising to ensure that the public is aware of a decision or a pending decision, as well as the expiry process and any costs associated. I'm happy to answer any questions or to facilitate any questions with the municipal planner, but before you is the procedure for your deliberation.
Thank you, Ms. Preston. Councillor Young.
I was surprised to learn that we don't have a policy or bylaw in effect. We have closed roads in the past. This is commonly referred to as an unopened road allowance is what we're doing. So it's not that we're closing an existing road. We're closing a piece of property that somewhere in the past, we deemed that there might be the need for a road to go into that particular property, and now we've decided that there's not. So I'm glad that we're doing this. And again, it wasn't all that long ago, we closed up Irvin Drive up below Fishel Drive and moved Irvin Drive over to the industrial park. So there were 2 roads up there on that plan. So we have done it.
Yes.
So, but I'm glad that we are putting this in place and certainly going to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Anyone else? Councillor Campbell?
I'm not sure who to ask. Ms. Preston, I guess. So the current application to have road closed would then fall under this document?
Are you referring to a temporary closure or a permanent closure?
The reason this came up was because someone has requested a closure, is that right?
It came to mind when we did have an inquiry about how someone would go about closing an unopened road allowance. At that time, we realized that in the past, as per Councillor Ray Young, we had dealt with them ad hoc and didn't have a formal process or application and a set of requirements that we could impose upon an applicant to ensure that we had the requirements that we needed from a municipal's perspective and to ensure that costs were appropriately outlined. And so we've done this to outline a procedure in case that does come to fruition or in case any future applications do arise, so that we're better prepared in the future to receive these types of applications.
Okay, so your sentence, the town of Prescott received a request to stop up and close a portion of a town road allowance. We will now enact this bylaw and they will have to go in under that bylaw.
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. Uh-oh. Sorry.
I did have one more comment for Ms. Preston. The proponent of this that wants to close the road allowance will pay for any expenses.
That's correct.
I'm not sure that I would want to sign an agreement with the town that says we would pay for all expenses, since we don't know what they are, if I was that person. So I'm wondering if we should put a number.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, to Councillor Ray Young, that's not an uncommon agreement to enter into with a municipal entity. For example, if you were going to buy, say, a severed portion of land that wasn't completed, you would pay for the severance cost, the processing, the legal associated with it. And so if we were to pick a number out of thin air to say $5,000 and the expense of, say, the survey was $10,000, then the taxpayers would be out the $5,000 and the applicant would be $5,000 richer in the process. And so by saying this, it's any costs associated with this application are yours to bear as the proponent or the applicant, and you accept that going into it. So that's not unique to this procedure or this policy, nor is it unique to any application where there's an exchange of land.
Okay, I guess it's up to the individuals to decide to sign that blank check or not. But it shouldn't be major costs. I mean, we're talking about postage, letters and some legal opinion or a document. So anyway, okay.
Counselor, did you have a follow-up?
I did, yeah, and Ray actually touched on a part of it there, the cost involved, but if there's two sides to that coin, and we do have a number of unopened road allowances in this town, which I think I alluded to in another meeting, having to do with something completely different. I don't know how we got there. But if for liability purposes, we decided that we would be further off to divest ourselves of this particular unopened road allowance to the neighboring property owners. If I happen to be a neighboring property owner and happen to use this property for the last 30 years as my own, even though I didn't own it, I wouldn't be really inclined to pay anything to absorb it. So I don't know where that leaves us as if the intent, and I don't know that it is, this provides a framework for us to do this. But if at some point in the future, we get a report from staff that says, these are unopened road allowances, we recommend that we stop them up. They are of no use as far as development goes. They just divide properties. Some people have garden sheds on them, whatever. There's going to be a cost involved, and it could be a considerable cost because we'd be splitting it amongst a bunch of people. And I don't think we could expect the property owners to pay for it. They're getting a benefit, so to speak, that they've had for maybe 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. So I'm not arguing against what we have in here, and the fact that if somebody comes to us and wants to buy a road that isn't being used to add to their property, that's fine. They pay the whole shot as far as I'm concerned. But we do have that other side of the coin where if we want to get rid of a road allowance, what are we going to do cost-wise? But I don't know, is we really have to concern ourselves with it this evening, but I think going down the road, it's something that staff should give some thought to.
Be aware.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We're good? We have yeah, okay. We have a motion, we have a mover and seconder, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, two more reports. We have a staff report 68-2025. It's the 2025 Pumpkin Parade. That sounds like fun. So the motion is that council provide direction to staff regarding the scheduling of the 2025 Pumpkin Parade, specifically to hold the event on its traditional date of November 1st, 2025. Mover and seconder, so we can have discussion. Okay. Councillor Campbell and Councillor Tracy Young. Okay, Miss Samantha Chodron, it's up to you.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Through you to council. As we approach, I don't want to say the end of October already, but as we look ahead to the end of October and early November, it is time to start planning for our annual Pumpkin Parade. This is a community services event that is held in great collaboration with our operations department, and more recently so with our active and tourism team in the pop-up location. What this event does is allows all of our residents to display their pumpkins for one more night as we market it as one last night to shine. We bring pumpkins down to Riverwalk Park. It has grown over the years to encompass our amphitheater and our marina with the goal of getting pumpkins all the way to our pop-up location. We're in a unique situation this year because I shouldn't say traditionally, but in the past, the pumpkin parade has been held on a weekday. This year, November 1st actually falls on a Saturday. And after a quick search, if I'm not mistaken, the last time November 1st was on a weekend was on a Sunday in 2020 or on a Saturday in 2014. So it's been a while. What we are bringing forward to council is the recommendation to move forward on our traditional date of November 1st. But what we did want to provide you with was a couple of different options, either moving forward with the traditional date of November 1st or moving it to a weekday, which would be Monday, November 3rd. As you'll see in the report, we have provided you with these two options as well as advantages and some considerations or challenges for either event. In terms of a financial impact, if we were to move forward with the event on Saturday, November 1st, in working with our operations team, we've estimated that overtime cost at approximately $720. As a comparable to 2024, when the event was held on a weekday, that overtime cost was about $270. So there is a bit of a difference between the two. We are recommending to proceed with the traditional date of November 1st for a couple of reasons. This would include consistency of the event, involvement from both the community and council, because there is a regular scheduled council meeting on November 3rd, should you decide to move forward with that date instead. As well as the quality of the pumpkins, that is a legitimate concern, keeping it right after Halloween, and anticipated attendance for the event. So should council choose to move forward with our traditional date of November 1st, our messaging to the community this year will take a bit of a shift, and we will be asking for the community to really take part in bringing their pumpkin down to the park themselves, to help our operations team, to help with the load of the operations team and really have kind of a place your pumpkin campaign where people can do it themselves, as we would have to call in overtime staff to help with the pickup on a Saturday. So the decision lies with council as to what we would like us to move forward with.
All right, we'll probably get input from everyone. Councillor Kirkby?
I think it's great that we plan for it on the 1st, so all younger families and grandparents, stuff like that can attend. I think November 1st just makes the most sense on a Saturday. Thank you.
Councillor Campbell?
Through you, Shankar. So if townspeople are bringing their own pumpkins down, would that reduce this amount of money that?
Not necessarily. What we've estimated there is based on bringing in a certain number of overtime staff to be able to continue with their pickups throughout town, although I believe it would be less pickup than what we have done in the past.
And could you have any kind of fundraising fund thing on the day so that we could recoup some of these costs? I know you can't, that could be a consideration. Like vote for your favorite pumpkin and put a tune in the jar.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Councillor Tracy Allen?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I can say that the BIA Special Event Committee is in full favor of having it on November 1st. We'd love to participate. I think it would benefit the downtown as well. And to Mary's point, and one of the ideas that we brainstormed was possibly having a pumpkin contest, and you would bring your pumpkin to, say, for instance, the clock tower, and it would be judged on, and we'd award ribbons. If that's something maybe that we can discuss with everyone, but that was one idea we had to get people to bring their pumpkins down. But yeah, we have lots of events ready to go as well, so I would be in full support of November 1st.
I support November 1st, a small price to pay, an additional cost to continue this great event.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shanker. I have one question that I had. First of all, I'm in favor of November 1st as well. The 700 and something you mentioned, Sam, is that including any overtime on the Sunday then to knock down whatever I know there was a lot of stuff up there last year. So that has to come down. Did that include dismantling that on Sunday? No?
No, thank you for the question. Traditionally, we take down everything the night of the event. So that allocation does include takedown. From what I understand.
Yeah, so just speaking to it, it's essentially four staff members coming in for a 4-hour shift to prep everything the morning of, probably 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., something like that. And then 2 additional staff coming in during and after the event to do the keeping things running and doing the tear down at the end. And then as currently budgeted in the report, essentially they would be able to get as much done as they could, and anything for whatever reason that they weren't able to take down would then be deferred until Monday morning as currently ready.
Fair enough. Thank you.
All right. Sounds like November 1st, got it. So I think that was the motion. Yeah. So that's good. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Looking forward to it. It's always a fun night. Hopefully the weather cooperates. All right, our last staff report is 69-2025, the Summer Cold Lunch Pilot Program Review. The motion is that council directs staff to support the continuation of the summer lunch program by seeking out local service providers to deliver the program in partnership with the town. Can I get a mover and seconder so we can get the report? Deputy Mayor Kirkby and Councillor Campbell. Ms. Jodwan, the floor is yours.
Thank you again, Mayor Shanker, through you to council. The report before you tonight is really an evaluation of the summer lunch pilot program that was approved by council back in June 2025. Just as a recap, this was a community-based initiative that was designed to provide free nutritious lunches to kids ages 4 to 18 throughout the summer months, when a lot of our other community organizations or food service community organizations take a break in the summer months. This pilot program was developed in response to regular roundtable meetings that were led by Judy Goury, where several local community organizations came together to address the issue of youth food insecurity. It was realized in those meetings that there really is a lack of food programming in the summer months. And so as council approved, we did initiate the summer lunch pilot program. The program had 4 main goals. This was nourishment. The goal was to provide 25 free cold lunches a day, Monday through Friday, over an 8-week period. Accessibility was another goal, to ensure that meals were free, allergy-friendly, and designed to accommodate dietary needs. Community engagement was a big aspect of this program, with the goal of strengthening support for families, garnering volunteer support, and fostering community partnership. And finally, an evaluation, and that is why we are here tonight. So the program did run from July 7th to August 29th. Our location prep site ultimately ended up being the Elaine Chartrand Community Center, the canteen. That proved to be a great option for us, not only for space and location, but also to be able to maximize another town facility that was otherwise not used during those months. We distributed all of our meals through the snack shack that was located down at Centennial Park. We had 1 summer student that was fully dedicated to this program, and we had 1 volunteer each day for the program too, which was a great success. The registration process was entirely online, and it was limited to 25 meals a day. We did release 2 different registration forms, one in June for the month of July, and then another one in July for the month of August. As you can see in the data and metrics, our goal was to be able to provide 1,000 meals throughout the summer. We had 822 meals distributed this summer. We had 29 families registered, which supported 75 children, the majority of which were Prescott residents. And we also estimate about 70 hours of volunteer support through that program. As designed, the program was meant to operate at break even. And that was through a combination of grants, community support, municipal resources, and local sponsorships. The report does outline all of the sponsorships and donors that came in. What that doesn't include is also the generosity of the community and those that decided to donate food throughout the summer as well. The community impact, you can see some testimonials here from a staff standpoint. The summer lunch program, in our mind, became the summer lunch program in conjunction with the rec programming that we offered downtown this summer. It really just became the park really just became an even stronger cornerstone of our community this summer. We made a lot of local connections, and it was truly just an incredible thing to be a part of this summer. It did not come without its challenges, but overall, those are things that can be, I think, things that we can grow into. As mentioned, the ACCC was great. We did have limited cooler space, so that's something to look into for next year if the program were to continue. I think we would recommend adjusting the registration process too, so that only one registration goes out in the month of June when youth are still in school. I do just think that there are more connections when the kids are in school to be able to take advantage of a program such as this one. In terms of some things that would be notes of consideration moving forward, I think having a plan in place for any excess meals, knowing where they can go and when they can be distributed would be ideal moving forward. And also having a summer student dedicated to this program was fantastic, but it did require a considerable amount of time from senior leadership as well. This program would not have been possible without the support from the community, from our business sponsors and our local community organization sponsors, individual donors, and so many dedicated volunteers. The initiative itself really did make an impactful difference this summer. The food bank came to a council meeting on September 15th to address the status of food insecurity within South Grenville. We know that it remains an ongoing concern within the community, again, particularly in the summer months. So to address this need, it is within the priorities of both the strategic plan as well as the community safety and wellbeing action plan that the town continues to dedicate resources to supporting food distribution initiatives. Moving forward, the town could act as a partner by allocating a portion of the annual budget to directly supporting this specific program and really leveraging a community grant program to partner with other local organizations that already specialize in food distribution programming. This would be a collaborative approach, all within the goals of the Community Services Department, and will allow the town to continue to build a stronger, more coordinated network to address a problem that we are aware of. In terms of alternatives, the council could choose not to continue the summer lunch program beyond the pilot program this summer. And there is an attachment that is just our thank you to our sponsors that were involved in the program this summer.
Thank you, Sam. Sam, if I may, it does say at the bottom here that it broke even. There was no net financial impact on the town. That's fabulous, except for the time spent, right? Are you looking to get a community partner with this? Okay.
That would be the recommendation.
Okay. To help with some of the volunteer hours?
It would be more so, there's multiple ways that we could go around it. I think a committee approach to this program would be fantastic to get more. Several different initiatives happened this summer. Some one by us, a couple by other organizations locally. I think taking a committee approach and building upon what we had here and some of the other initiatives that were done this summer and really working more collaboratively would be the goal.
Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Edwin? No? Well, thank you. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Excellent. All right, that's it for staff reports. Make sure my glasses are on. I got some reading ahead of me here. Okay, so next up is resolutions. So we had that, as Mr. Owen mentioned, we had the food bank here on September. And as a result, we have a resolution that we're going to proclaim. First, I'll get a mover and a seconder on it. So can I get a mover? Miss Tracy Young, and a seconded by Councilor Ray Young. All right, so we have a mover and seconder, so I'll just read the resolution. Whereas food insecurity is defined as inadequate or insecure access to food due to financial constraints and is associated with a higher risk of numerous diseases, chronic health conditions, and early death. And whereas Public Health Ontario estimates that 1 in 7 households in Leeds, Grenville, and Lanark are food insecure. And whereas the South Grenville Food Bank reported 562 registered households in 2024, including 31% visits by or on behalf of children, and projects over 825 registered households in 2025. And whereas the Southeast Health Unit, in its 2024 report addressing food insecurity in Leeds, Grenville, and Lanark, indicated that the living wage for the region is $21.65 per hour, and therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Prescott declare food insecurity an emergency in the Town of Prescott, and that Council requests that the provincial and federal governments consider the reduction of food insecurity as a component of all applicable government policies, and that Council requests the provincial and federal governments explore the expansion of existing school food programs and or work to establish a province-wide universal school food program, and that Council requests that the provincial and federal governments act to address the causes of food insecurity, including income levels, housing affordability, and food costs. And that a copy of this motion be circulated to the following individuals and organizations: the Right Honourable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, MP Michael Barrett, Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes, MPP Steve Clark, Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, the Ontario Public School Boards Association, and the Canadian School Boards Association. Any questions on that? Ms. Campbell?
Well, I'm not sure who to ask. So this came through the South Grenville Food Bank,
Correct.
and she's asking us as the Town of Prescott to support it.
Yes. So this is our resolution from their presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Correct. Councilor McConnell?
This isn't what I was gonna ask, but something that Councillor Campbell just asked. Did we write this or did they write it?
Ms. Preston?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, through you to council. This was a collaborative effort between staff and the food bank. It is in line with the resolution that was passed both by the city of Brockville and the city of Smith Falls, who have made similar resolutions following presentations by their respective food banks. And so we took the approach to have similar verbiage to our neighbors who were looking to make the same declaration. So this follows the suit that those two neighboring municipalities took with similar numbers to our
I'm not sure you can answer this question, but whereas Public Health Ontario estimates that 1 in 7 households in Leeds, Grenville, and Lanark are food insecure, do we have any idea what the rest of the province is? Are we exceptional in that regard?
Cannot speak to that. I apologize, Councillor McConnell.
Yeah,
I don't need to apologize. It didn't occur to me to ask before, or I would have. It might be something that we could find out though.
Absolutely.
I'm curious if this isn't the exact wording that was passed by Smith Falls and Brockville, whether the word emergency was in both of theirs. When I think of the word emergency, I think of a 50-car pileup in the 401, or I think of a row house on James Street catching fire. The food bank has come to this council every year since I've been on it, and we've always given them money. They've come to us and asked for extra money. We have always given them extra money. When I see the word emergency, it's one of those words that sometimes can get overused. I think of the boy calling wolf and I would have no problem supporting this at all, but I'm just not sure whether the word emergency should be in there.
Through you, Mayor Shankar, I can comment that both Smith Falls and Brockville used the word emergency. I can also provide that the original motion that was submitted asked council to declare a state of emergency, which has different connotations, and therefore we helped the food bank to come to this verbiage rather than the declaration of a state of emergency. However, I do hear your point, Councillor McConnell. This was the verbiage that was used by our neighbors to say that it's an emergency in the community rather than to have the municipality or the jurisdiction declare what is known as a state of emergency that must have an end date.
Thank you.
Follow up?
Mayor Shankar, that popped out at me too, this whole emergency. I don't know if we could say a crisis situation has come to a level of, I'm not sure, I'm not fond of this emergency, being on the emergency management committee. There are rules and regulations for that. But I understand you're saying it's not a state, but if people don't know that, then they'll just see emergency.
As was witnessed in some news articles, I'm sure that council may or may not have heard of this week.
We just, when we do get asked, we do tell them that it's not a state of emergency, it's just an emergency in the town.
But it's not.
Well,
According to this,
I mean, they're up from but 562 to 825.
But if
I mean, that's their words, Councilor McConnell, not ours, right?
Well, that's what I asked, is these our words or somebody else's? And this is Leeds, Grenville, and Lanark that they've identified 1 in 7. So I fully support the idea behind this. It's just that one word emergency, which I question should be in there. And if somebody could think of a better word, I can't, in all honesty.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. Council may or may not be aware that the South Grenville Food Bank also delegated to the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville very recently. And so a similar request was made of Leeds and Grenville. While I did not write an accompanying report, and I do apologize for that, perhaps it would have been beneficial context for council. We could also look at the alternative of deferring any decision on this until the United Counties makes a decision, and we can follow suit with a declaration that they make, or we can proceed with the one as written this evening. If council is uncomfortable with the current verbiage, perhaps we would wait to see if the counties takes a different approach to the city of Brockville and uses any different verbiage from a county perspective in how to make that determination.
No, it's up to Councilor Kirkby.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Shankar. I think the whole word emergency is being used to draw attention. I think it's a play on words. I don't mind it. I think the South Grenville or Leeds Grenville Food Bank has talked to food banks in the area. That's one thing that she pointed out, and that they're all seeing the same kind of trend when they talk, right? I think what they're trying to do is they're not asking for anything other than us to support this. We wrote it with maybe some of their wordage, right? But I think really what they're trying to do here is draw the attention of both federal and provincial government to come up with some kind of food program, that's standardized across the schools in Ontario. And in that spirit, if they have deemed that they have an emergency on their hands, as far as food security, I think they probably know better than us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Kirkby. Anyone else? All right, we do have the motion in front of us. We have worked on this for a while. I'm gonna call the question and see where it goes. So all those in favor? Against? Opposed?
Not against it, it's just, I don't think the emergency belongs, and I'd rather wait and see what the United
Would
Counties
you like to
have.
abstain then?
An abstention is a no vote.
So what's your vote?
I'm gonna have to vote no.
Okay. Carrie, thank you. All right, moving on. We don't have any bylaws and no new business, no notices of motion. We do have a mayor's proclamation this week. It's Fire Prevention Week. So whereas the town of Prescott is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Prescott, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the location where people are at greatest risk from fire. And whereas residents should identify places in their home where fires can start and eliminate those hazards. And whereas residents should install working smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area and on every level of the home. And whereas residents should listen for the sound of the smoke alarm, and when it sounds, respond by going outside immediately to the designated meeting place. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced the home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas our first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the 2025 Fire Prevention Week theme is Charge into Fire Safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home. And it aims to educate everyone about using these batteries safely and stresses how important it is to buy, charge, and recycle safely when it comes to lithium-ion batteries. Now therefore, I, Gauri Shankar, Mayor, do hereby proclaim October 5th to 11th, 2025 as Fire Prevention Week in the town of Prescott, and urge all residents and visitors to buy only listed products, charge devices safely, and dispose of / recycle batteries responsibly, and support the many public safety activities of the Prescott Fire Department during Fire Prevention Week all year long. Okay. So any media questions? Nope. This question? So we're going to move into closed session. So the motion is that council move into closed session at 7:30 PM to discuss matters pertaining to 19.1 approval of closed session minutes from September 15th, 2025. 19.2 is a potential litigation matter. 19.3 is a human resources matter. Under section 239(2)E under the Municipal Act, litigation or potential litigation. Under section 239(2)F under the Municipal Act, advise subject to solicitor client privilege. And under section 239(2)B under the Municipal Act, personal matters about an identifiable individual. And that the CAO, treasurer, director of administration, clerk, and deputy clerk remain in the room. Can I get a mover and seconder for that? Deputy Mayor Kirkby and Councilor McConnell, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. Let's get back in about 3 to 5 minutes, please.